Happy January 1st. I am excited to bring in the new year with you, and I want to encourage you to think about something. The things that you have achieved in your life, most of those, you did not put the rest of your life on pause to do. For example, you went to college, you got a degree, you understood that was going to be a 4-year venture, you signed up, you took classes, you kept that process going, but more than likely you still saw your friends. More than likely you might have worked a part-time job, right? You did other things while pursuing your 4-year degree. When you became employed by your employer, you didn't start out maybe at the top end of your profession. You started out at the beginner level. You proved yourself, you worked your way up. And that is true of all things in life that are worth having. You start at the beginning, you start where you are, you have a plan, and you move forward. But you don't go and say, you know what, it's January 1. I am going to overhaul everything about my eating behaviors. I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to start exercising. Forget the old me. Let's bring in the new year with this brand new version of me that I don't even know. But yet we've done it so many times, right? And we seek out and we say, oh, what's my friends doing? What's going on? And Facebook and Instagram have a fantastic way with all their wonderful algorithms to know exactly how to lure you into something. And I am here to encourage you, try to not do that this year. Yes, that's right, guys. On January 1, I'm saying don't start a diet. I am saying don't start a brand new program or something that you feel like you're starting something to then just at some point stop doing. I mean, they've got this calculated out. They know by a certain point, I want to say it's either February or March, there's a certain date that they know most people abandon their New Year's resolutions. Like, it's been studied. So it's not like, this is not something that's been well founded. You're more than likely, if you have a huge startup to something, it's a huge overhaul of what you're used to. You're more than likely going to peter out because no one can sustain that. If you came into that company analogy and I made you the CEO and really you should be working in the mailroom or being a personal assistant or a secretary or quality control, if I had thrown you into a position you weren't prepared for, you probably would have gotten fired, right? If you had gone into college, skipped your first 2 years of prerequisites, and tried to go on to your PhD level courses, you probably wouldn't have gotten your degree. So you have to think about it like, instead of me jumping into the deep end of the pool, doing all the things, what if I just for 1 week evaluate my habits? What if for 1 week I just look at what I'm doing? Am I going to bed at a consistent time? Am I eating fruits and vegetables through the day? Am I eating protein? Am I sitting down and eating? How often am I eating out? How often am I drinking? How many treats am I having per day? If you were to really start to evaluate you, right, not go outside of you, go look at you, and you were to create a plan of, hey, you know what? I'm not really eating any vegetables. Let's start with that. Let's put a little walk in every day. Let's maybe start to cook a couple more meals at home. Before you know it, if you go with that approach by the end of the year, 1, you won't have quit, and 2, you will have made progress because it's something you can actually keep up with. I want to encourage you to think completely differently about this so you can be successful. Because at the end of the day, nothing big, nothing worthwhile in your life that you have now have you achieved with a snap of a finger overnight. It has required consistency, it has required dedication, it has required hard work. It has required you to be willing to start where you are and work your way up. And that is something you really, even with kids, it's not like you get a kid and all of a sudden you're parenting to the level that you are, say, 10 years later, or you have the same ability as you would as a grandparent who's already gone through the process. You've seen all the steps, and you could probably offer some legit helpful advice, but when you're first starting, you don't, right? Everything that's worthwhile, you have to learn and grow in the process. So I want to encourage you, opt out of a diet this year. Choose to become wildly curious about yourself. accept where you are right now. Say, I am going to take the next 52 weeks and just focus on adding in one healthy habit, or maybe potentially phasing out one unhealthy habit and replacing it with something better. So that way, come this time next year, I am further along, I am making progress. And think of it like you were going to go to school for 4 years. And you don't show up every day at your class, day one, and say, where's my degree? You know you aren't getting the degree for 4 years. You know it's going to take time, but you show up and do the work anyway, right? It's the same thing with weight loss. You may take a year, 6 months, 2 years. I don't know. I don't know how much you have to lose, and I don't know what your situation is. But what I do know is the 5 years I spent losing weight with having 2 additional pregnancies thrown in was fantastic, because it gave me the tools necessary to maintain my weight loss for the last 9 years. So yeah, losing 170 pounds is great. It's huge. It's magazine worthy, right? I was put on newspapers and magazines and people wrote articles. But here I am 9 years later and I'm still keeping it off. And just an FYI, no one asks me for those things as much anymore, because it's one of those things where it's a big deal in the moment. And this is obviously the struggle with maintenance, right? But then to do all those healthy habits and not be getting all the attention can be very difficult for some people. And so the time that you take to lose this weight, it's an investment in your future self. It's going to help you maintain your weight loss long term. So that way you're not losing the 20, 30 pounds in 20 or 30 days just to gain it back in the same amount of time. I hope this message helps. I hope you are having a fantastic January 1, and I will talk to you soon.